Good afternoon, everybody. It is Monday, October 24th, 2022 at 6 p.m. and I'll call to order the Freetown Board of Selectmen meeting. This meeting will be recorded and will be available on our town YouTube page. First, we're going to go into executive session and then come back into open session. We are going into executive session for the following reason. Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3. To discuss strategy with respect to litigation. If an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of the public body and the chair so declares, and I do, Solar Farms, all as they are the Board of Selectmen of the town of Freetown. All right, so now I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Motion made.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes. We're now back in open session. We're going to go a little bit out of order, and I'm going to kick it over to our personnel chair for an interview for town accountant.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So personnel discussion item number 13 is an interview with our final candidate, Matt Parent. Mr. Parent is here in attendance with us this evening, and he has applied for the position of town accountant. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you.
So in case you forgotten over the past few days, but I'm still selecting Carl Lopes. This is selecting Jared Zager, and of course selecting Trevor Matthews. And, our town administrator and town administrator Debbie Petty, and our executive assistant Luann Souza. So Matt, thank you for coming tonight. I wanted to bring you in front of the panel. We have interviewed Matt twice now, and he's at this moment our final candidate for town accountant. Great. So Matt, I'm going to ask you a couple questions just like we did over nothing we haven't asked you the last two times. Again, just to relay your knowledge and experience to the board so they know what they're getting in the department head, which is our town accountant. So as always, I always ask if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, personal or professional background.
Personally, let's see. Well, I'll just start with my name. My name is Matt. You already know that. Right now, I'm working as an accounting consultant, sort of like senior accountant adjacent type role. I do a lot of the monthly financials, closing entries, work with other department heads to finish projects and stuff like that. Before that, I was an accountant, but sort of served as like an interim controller. So I have a little bit of experience sort of managing small teams and the day-to-day operations, that sort of stuff. On a personal level, I guess I'll say the same thing I told you guys. I like being outdoors. I love animals, dogs in particular. I like games of all kinds, board, video, lawn, doesn't matter. And I am trying to learn to play the piano. Other than that, I'm a pretty boring person, I think.
You live in Freetown?
Yes. I live right across the street from the town hall.
Oh, that's very convenient.
Yeah,
Very tough commute. That street
solves
gets
our
crazy in the morning.
Solves our parking spot.
Yeah.
You walk there, which is not a litter attendant.
We gained a parking spot by hiring Mr. Parent down the road.
That's right, friend benefits.
Yeah.
So, Matt, the question always comes up when we have, so in his background, Matt doesn't really have any municipality experience. The accounting piece, he's got that in spades as far as his resume and his experience. But the question always comes up, Matt, what makes you interested in this position as a town accountant?
Particularly the first thing that kind of interested me in this type of work is just that I like helping people. And as you already asked, I grew up in Freetown, so kind of the concept of being able to contribute to the community that I live in and grew up in is super appealing to me. I sort of felt that, like you said, my professional experience lined up well with the accounting portion of the job, and in the past I've never had really any issue picking up new skills and learning new things, so I feel like I'm up for the challenge of learning the other pieces that I'm not yet familiar with. Yeah, I think that's it.
That's great. Because you're right, Matt. Coming from the private sector into the municipality sector, there are some similarities like any accounting, but there's also some differences, right? We use different systems. We have more reporting. We have to keep our town interim administrator and selectmen in check. It's not in check, but it's a lack of bad choice of words, not checked, but informed of what's going on with our finances today and tomorrow. So as you move into the municipality world, you know, I sense there's a commitment by you to really give back to the town, you know, and if you do come on, we do have our current accountant that's going to stay on and help train you as you go through it. But there's a commitment there to municipality. There's a learning curve, as you can probably attest to, right? There's things that I'm sure you've looked up at this point that says, hey, I'm going to take me a year, 2 years, whatever the case may be. So just want to reassure, like, not just myself, but our board here and the people looking at it from home, your commitment to the town. Because this is not a gamble of sorts, but we are taking a chance and making sure that we have an accountant for the next 20, 30 years. Is that accurate? Is that something that you're looking forward to long-term, working for the town and giving back to your community?
Yes, it's an opportunity that I'm personally and professionally invested in. I think it'll provide me an opportunity for personal and professional growth. And as I already touched on, it kind of hits some personal goals as well. So I can definitely say I'm looking to be in it for the long term.
Excellent. And my toughest question of the day, Matt, any questions for us regarding the position?
I have a question. So you don't have your CPA, do you?
No, I don't.
Yeah. Are you interested in going down that path and getting your CPA someday, or yeah?
Before COVID, I had applied to go. Basically, I need one full year of credits, and then I can
the 150
get my master's, and get my CPA. And I had applied to go do that when kind of the pandemic hit, and plans just changed. I guess I didn't really want to do the online thing, but it is still something I'm interested in and looking to do down the road if I can find the time to do that. So
I took a couple parts of the CPA, so never actually finished it as a career change, but it's I mean, Debbie's a CPA, she knows. It's very difficult, but it's something that, definitely stay on that path. I think that'd be great, for the town as an asset to have a CPA in that position would be huge.
Yeah, I mean, continuing education in general is something that I'm interested in. I don't like to stagnate, so.
Yeah. Now, I'm not sure how that works, though, for to actually sit, I think you have to have your credit, but then to get your actual CPA. As a municipal, whatever the equivalent for municipal.
Yeah, so there is a different accreditation for municipal. In fact, the first conference, the first education will be in March. So we'll be expecting you to go if you're hired to that conference. And just for the record, I'm not a CPA.
Oh, you're not,
I
sorry.
have a master's in tax law.
That's right. I have my master's in accounting, but I never got the CPA. I did the 150. I did my master's directly after my undergraduate because I worked for KPMG, and then never ended up going down the whole CPA route. But I was on my way there.
Oh, that's cool to know.
My question I have for you is more about personality based, right? Like, do you find yourself good at working with other people in different personalities? Because inevitably you're in an office at this point, a very tight office, right? When you talk about the size of town hall with the amount of people are in there, and there's a lot of different personalities within those walls. So, do you find yourself good with conflict and other people? And not that there's conflict, I guess that's bad wording, but do you
conflict?
Yeah, but I guess I'm just worried more about your personality in working with other people, especially as you grow professionally within the town hall.
Yeah, I mean, I think as far as my personality goes, I have a pretty even personality. Maybe leaning towards shy a little bit, but for the most part, I get along well with everybody. I don't have any big issues that I can speak of with employees in the past. I definitely like working with people that are kind of talkative and outgoing because it takes the burden of coming up with stuff to say off of me, but that's not to say that I don't enjoy working with people of all types. I'll stop there.
So one of the key parts of the job is obviously you have to understand, how all of our, finances work and, pretty deep knowledge of everything, but it's also, part of it is being able to do the public speaking part, which I think it's difficult, because like when we go through the budget here, right, you have to speak to a lot of different items on that budget, really understand it. I mean, which I think is you're well prepared for, it's never an issue, but that's just something you should know, like, I don't want, 6 months from now for you to be, not realize that there is definitely a public speaking part of this job. And also when we go to the town meeting or special town meeting, you're gonna be up on the stage, you have to speak to different items if anything comes up. So just gotta make sure you're aware of that. It's not the typical accounting role where you're just sitting in an office and, like all the accounting roles I've ever had.
We've told them all about it.
Yeah, okay. I just wanna make sure that's clear, because that's, can be, it's a little unique for this role compared to other kind of accounting positions, I guess.
And one of the great things about the format that we're having here tonight, having everyone introduce themselves to each other, is we've had the opportunity to sit down with Matt twice now, and he's had the opportunity to sit down with our current accountant, our tax folks, and his assistant coming in, and they've all talked. They had this discussion already. So the good thing is now we're getting those questions, and we went through a plethora of items and questions to making sure that, like you said, Jared, that he measures well within the town hall, that he's a good fit with everybody. And the consensus was he's our guy,
He's a nice guy.
So.
All right, that's all the questions I got.
Yes.
Any questions for us?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I asked them a couple questions. It sounds like, I guess I'll say it sounds like I have a lot of resources to draw on. I didn't know even that you had your master's in accounting, so that's another thing. So I don't think the learning will be too bad. I guess really the only thing that I would want to know is kind of like what can I do to prepare for this over the next couple of weeks.
I would just do as much research on municipal counties as you possibly can, really. I would just, say, I'm sure there's some free online courses you could take. I'm sure there's, a lot of stuff. And then also going through our budget, I mean, that's probably another really important, which there's a lot of publicly available information, but we can definitely assist you. It's just start to get a feeling with that budget.
That's a good idea, if once we decide that we're gonna move forward, is to give them the budget book.
Because that will provide you, then come up with your questions from that budget book, and then starting day one, you can hit the ground running and ask him, to explain all the different line items and what they mean, and, in detail.
And I know personally, I think, I need to ask these questions, and then I get in front of people, and then I don't remember what it was I was supposed to ask. So my thought is go through that stuff, jot down any questions you may have, because Kim is going to be a very valuable asset for you to have for a limited amount of time, right? So you want to make sure that you have everything written down that you can think of, that you have questions or concerns on, and then that way you can get the appropriate answers from someone who knows a ton about this stuff, so.
Yeah, I'm not sure that all of the selectmen are aware, but Kim is willing to stay on a little bit longer to help train, but we're still working out the details of what that looks like for the town. And once she kind of tells me what she's looking for, we'll present that back to the board. But that is going to be an invaluable tool to the town and to Matt. So I feel very confident that we're gonna transition smoothly.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right.
I do appreciate it.
Good to see you again.
Matt, thanks very much. I think that's it. You can hang around for the rest of the meeting. It's up to you. Not the most exciting stuff.
Hopefully we have till the next one.
All right, have a good one.
Have a good night.
Nice meeting you.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, we want to continue with personnel stuff or move on back onto the main agendas?
You want to just take up the rest of your personnel stuff me.
So we just interviewed our candidate, Matt Parent, for town position. So that was item 13. So to circle back, we're at agenda item 9, acknowledge the resignation of Logan St. Louis, effective 10/17/2022. Pretty straightforward. It's all in the packet. Any questions or concerns?
Nope.
All right. There's no vote on, so we'll move on to agenda item number 10. It's discussion and vote to confirm the committee's, sorry.
Yeah,
I
pass on 10.
forgot about it. We're going to pass on 10 to another meeting.
No, I think we want to do 10 maybe, not 11.
It's
No,
Yeah.
10.
smart. You could do makeup.
I think that what we want to discuss on 10 is the makeup of the committee, and if there was any changes to that. We can't talk about appointing any particular persons because the names were not listed out. So do you want to have that discussion, or do you want to save it all for the next meeting? In other words, we were talking about 3 from the library, 3 from the COA, 4 from the community at large. We got so many interested parties that we thought about, do you want to change that and make it a 13-person committee? Do we want to leave it 11-person and maybe have 2 alternates? That's the discussion about how the makeup, do we want to change the makeup at all? Or do we just want to leave it with 11-person in the way it's made up? So again, have that discussion tonight or have that at the next meeting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with saying stuff about it right now.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. We had it last time, so it was 3, 3, 4 on 1.
That seems fine to me.
You leave the makeup the way it is.
Yeah, I agree.
And maybe add 2 alternates. That was my
Yeah.
thought process, because that gives alternates that can come. They can't vote unless there's not a quorum. So, but they can speak and participate.
Yeah.
No, I
Because
agree
we
with
have so
that.
much interest in this. Okay.
I like that idea.
So you have to just vote that you
Yeah.
add 2 alternates to the
Okay.
makeup of that committee.
Okay.
So back to agenda item number 10, we're going to discuss and vote to confirm the committee's makeup, which at this point, we're adding 2 alternates. So it'll be 3 of the Council of Aging, 3 library, 4 people at large, 1 selectman, and 2 alternates to make sure we have a quorum. Any questions or concerns?
No.
All right, I entertain a motion to add 2 alternates to the current makeup of the committee, leaving it at 3 COA, 3 library, 4 at large, 1 selectman, and 2 alternates.
I'll make that motion.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you. Item agenda number 11, discussion and vote on whether to appoint Brenda Mata to the Council of Aging Board effective 10/24/2022 through 6/30/2025. Any questions? Brenda seems very motivated, so that'll be a nice addition to the COA.
Perfect.
Now, I'd like to entertain the motion to appoint Brenda Mata to the Council of Aging Board effective 10/24/2022 through 6/30/2025.
Make that motion.
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item agenda number 12, discussion, vote, and whether to appoint James M. O'Leary as the Board Registrar effective 11/1/2022 through 3/31/2025. That's pretty straightforward.
Yep.
James, well-known here in town, seems like he'd be a good fit for it. That said, I'd like to entertain the motion to appoint James M. O'Leary as a board registrar effective 11/1/2022 through 3/31/2025.
Make that motion.
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Should
All right.
we, Chief, yeah, should we have that?
Yeah.
I want to go over to 14, because I'm just going to invite
Yeah.
you.
Chief,
That way you're not waiting on us.
please come forward.
Come on down.
Sorry, the notes would be very confusing. Luann, we're doing everything out of order. But Chief, welcome. So agenda item number 14 is the update of radio communication.
Okay, so right now, we're waiting for the results of the microwave path study.
Sounds very technical.
Yeah, so basically they're going to determine, the evaluators are going to determine at what height the microwave dishes have to be placed at. You know, they're going to need a basically line of sight. They have to be up above the canopy. Once we get that particular information, it then needs to be incorporated into the lease agreements. That's very important, because if you don't have that recorded into the lease agreement, then the lessor could change your height later. Maybe perhaps a more profitable entity could come forward that needed that particular space. So this is a really critical element.
Makes a lot of sense. Something I would never thought of, but that makes a lot of sense.
After that, we need some engineering reports. The building departments are going to want to determine whether or not the towers can support the load of the equipment on each of the towers themselves. Following that, let's see, we have to obtain the building permits. Deb and I will go back and review the lease agreements and then make some recommendations to the board. Once that's in place, we have to engage a contractor to install the equipment on the towers. The weather is going to affect people climbing these towers.
How long are the leases going to be, just out of curiosity?
Geez, I don't, did we have something in the article itself about the duration of the lease?
I feel like we want it as long as possible. Right?
Well, I agree, because I don't see the town building its own towers, right? I mean, you have to look for a location that meets your specific needs. You have to either do a taking of the property itself or an easement, right? You'd have to access the property with utilities, generated, I don't see us doing that.
Yeah, and there was already some, to back it up a little bit, there was already some of these studies done, right, Chief, where
Yes.
they came to us and went over what town-owned property is, where the best place, and we basically come up with that these are the best powers to come up with, right?
Yeah.
It's quick. So it wouldn't even make sense. So to your point, Trevor, is a great point. The longer, the better, as long as they're structurally fit.
So sorry, you were talking about the contracts installing them.
Yeah, so we get all the equipment installed, then we have to program portable radios and mobile radios for police and fire. We have to install them in all of the vehicles. Once that's accomplished, we take the old police and fire radios, which are on an analog frequency, we program them for the new local government frequency, and then we install them in the highway department and animal control vehicle, et cetera. I think that's sort of it in a nutshell. I'm sure I missed a few elements, but.
Also, something else is the fact that the towers that they're allowing us to use their storage sheds for the equipment, right?
So we entered into a co-location agreement at no charge to us with AT&T. AT&T has a building at the base of the Berkeley cell tower. So we have, we're going to shelter our equipment in there, and they're also going to provide free generator access in an emergency.
That's great.
The tower in East Freetown didn't have appropriate space within their building, so we have to purchase an equipment shed, but they will allow us to hook up to their emergency generator. So
it's all positive things, right?
Yeah.
As I was
Yes.
very encouraged to hear that part of it.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that both the chiefs and myself met with a member from TMLP, and we were talking about running fiber optics to the tower and back to the police station, which will be for redundancy in case the microwave should go out for any reason. So we're entertaining that with grant. We'll apply for the grant and see if we get it. But so there's another piece of this too that will be woven into this whole radio communications.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So that's where we're at.
All right.
Got a ways to go.
People were asking, so I just thought we'd bring it up here so that the public knows there's a lot of money.
And I won't hold you, obviously, probably you might be retiring before this is over, but so if you were to take a guess though, so I'm not holding you to it, but when do you think the potential completion date, best case scenario?
Geez, I would think that the weather, if they're prevented from climbing in the winter, it's got to be the spring.
Right, yeah.
Spring.
Okay, that makes sense.
And once they get going, it should be pretty straightforward. All the radio programming can be done in-house. Just getting the stuff up there and hauling it up there is going to be.
So we've already acquired the software so that we can do the programming in-house.
Great. All right, any other questions?
No, thank you, Chief.
All right, Chief, appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Good night.
As always, thank you, Chief.
Okay. You good?
Yeah.
All right. So now I'm going to jump back to agenda item 2. This is to approve but not release the executive session minutes from 10/18/2022. So I'll entertain a motion to approve but not release the executive session minutes from 10/18/2022.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Open session minutes from 10/18/2022. So I'll entertain a motion whether to approve the open session minutes from 10/18/2022.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So now we have town offices, services, and hours for the day after Christmas and observation of the Christmas and New Year's holidays. So,
I got a silly question.
so day after Christmas, what's that?
I got a question for this one.
Yeah.
So I get it. We it's a holiday, no one's working. They get the, what is it, 18, 19 state holidays or federal holidays per year, right?
Yeah.
So is it 12? 12, sorry, 12. I'll take 8 back. So if they're already getting it, are we just approving it just for public notification?
No, so this is the day after Thanksgiving. This is not a holiday for the.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The day after Thanksgiving is not a holiday for the unions. But what typically happens is a majority of the personnel will take the day off with personal time or vacation time, whatever time they have. And in the past, it leaves many departments unmanned. So the selectmen, it's a half a day anyway for the town hall. The selectmen in the past have voted to close the town hall, but employees are required to work. In other words, they can take the day off using their time. But in order so that we don't have the public coming to the town hall expecting to have services and we have half of the departments closed, the selectmen have voted to close the town hall. I don't have a personal preference one way or the other. We're trying to avoid residents getting upset.
And I do because of that very reason, right? Where they're gonna show up and think, all right, someone's gonna be here, one department's open, the next isn't. I'd rather have it clean, and it's
Well,
kind of
that's the issue.
unfair.
We have no way of knowing. Because with the unions, they don't have to give us, 5 weeks notice of when they're gonna take time off. And so many of them probably haven't even thought about it. And it's like, okay, I'm gonna take the day after Thanksgiving. I'm gonna let you know I'm taking the day after Thanksgiving. But, so that's why, so I don't know, so that's what's happened in the past. So this has to have a vote, and selectmen again don't have a personal preference, and it's just something to determine whether we're gonna have our doors open or closed to the public. The unions, the employees will take their time or not take their time as they choose.
And then, so I understand that's the Thanksgiving, and then the observation for Christmas and New Year's holiday.
So I think this is more for the transfer station where the Christmas falls on a Saturday. So Christmas falls on a Saturday. So typically the transfer station would get the Tuesday holiday, but they prefer to have the Christmas Eve as their holiday. And I would think that more people are going to be bringing trash after the holiday than the day before the holiday.
Yes,
So
that makes sense.
It's just sort of, can we allow them to take their holiday on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve instead of the Tuesday after the holiday, which is generally what they take because they have Monday off.
So that's just for the transfer station.
Transfer station, was there anything else in the town hall? No, I think it was just to clarify, the transfer station, and I had that conversation with Ms. King down at the transfer station. I don't know if she gave me anything in writing, but.
Okay.
Well, thank you for the explanation. I apologize, I didn't see the word after, which is, the key word there for number 4. So I do appreciate you, putting it all down and letting us know, and everybody watching at home family time is important during the holidays, so absolutely right. At least notifying the residents is the way to go.
Okay, so I might split this into 2 different motions to make it easier.
That's fine.
So I'll entertain a motion to close the offices and services for the day after Christmas, which is day after Thanksgiving, which is November 25th.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, next would be, I'll entertain a motion to have the transfer station observe Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve holidays. It's so the days before Christmas and New Year's Eve. Does that make sense?
The day before Christmas and New Year's, yeah.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And if we mess that up, we can just fix that next
The day
meeting.
before
Yeah.
Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah. Okay.
So they will have the leaves off.
The eve's off. All right.
Good.
All right, so next is for a staff holiday party. So this would be closing town hall, highway, library, transfer station, and council on aging at 12:30 on 12/21/2022. Any concerns or questions about that?
Nope, all about team morale.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion to close the town hall, highway department, library, transfer station, and council on aging at 12:30 on 12/21/2022 for the staff holiday party.
Motion made.
I second this motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, next is the 2 parking spots at town hall closest to the door for visitors only.
So I put this on the agenda and kind of kept kicking it down because this was something I had wanted to do months ago, and I'm not sure now what you want to do, but obviously we have a big parking issue at the town hall, and it's difficult for anybody to come into business. Well, it's difficult for the employees to park too, where they can park. One of my thoughts was, in order to make it so that when visitors come, they can, visitors come to do business, that we block off 2 parking spots that are just for visitors only. Not, hindsight now, because like I said, this has kind of been kicked down for months, is like, okay, well then what do I do with my employees? Because I definitely will displace, like, Mr. McHugh that comes in at 10, he definitely will not have a parking place when he comes in on any day. He will have to always look for a different, unless I've got staff out on vacation or ill. And we're hiring one more person, a full-time person to be part-time in the assessors and part-time floater that we just got the funding for at town meeting. So I've got another person coming in, and I just don't know where to put him. So this might be something we want to just table for now because we just have so many parking issues that I can't resolve.
Yeah, if we're gonna talk parking, one of the things that, when I look at the parking lot, we have the handicap parking on the left side of the, in the parking lot of the main building, with the ramp at the opposite end. So if you're a handicapped individual, all right, you have to go into traffic in a sense, especially if you were using a wheelchair or whatnot, and then go back around where you came from. So if we do some rearranging of parking lots, I'd like to see that handicap spot or ramp moved. I think just striping a handicap area next to the ramp makes more sense. Just my 2 cents, down the road. Yeah, so we'll table this for today and then kind of regroup with another plan. But I do agree in principle to having a stationary visitor parking spot so that our residents can get there and go and leave and do business as usual until we figure out the parking issue.
I don't know how we're going to do that. I actually am working on a couple of ideas with them to see how they work out.
Yeah. All right, that's what works for me, so we'll table that one.
Yep.
All right, next is the water meter bid, so for supply installation. So it looks like the winner of bid would be Bay State Wind Supply. And the total bid amount is, we just saw it,
$383,567.25.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on this?
No.
All right, great. And where's this money comes out of?
This money, $373,000, say $200 came out of ARPA.
Perfect.
So there's $10,000 coming out of the water budget,
Awesome.
which I could have gone back to ARPA, but they've agreed. I'm just waiting for them to have a meeting to authorize the spend of that. They have money in equipment replacement fund, and they have enough to supplement the $10,000 that we're short.
Yep. Awesome. I looked at the bid. It looks like, this company's done a ton of work at many different towns.
Yep.
So
It
know what
was
they're doing.
responsive, they had everything that they needed.
I know it seemed like a very, very detailed bid. A lot of information.
Yeah, it was
So.
fun.
All right. Great. So with that, so I guess I'll entertain a motion to award the supply and installation of water meters to Bay State Wind Supply for the installation of water meters.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And now we have the contract, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the contract between the town of Freetown and Bay State Wind Supply for supply and installation of water meters.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, I think that's everything, so we'll sign now. About an hour, not too bad.
Yeah, it's not bad.
You're gonna make up for it for next meeting.
Okay, great.
Let's put that on the next one.
So right here,
We could come on Halloween.
Nope.
Well, if we try Halloween, I think we'll be down one selectman, or maybe two. Halloween's a very important time of year for a lot of people. It's the only time I can get dressed up.
Should we do the meeting in costume?
Costumes, yeah, well, if that's the case, we can do an early meeting in costumes.
I'm definitely feeling the cold coming on.
People always ask me, what am I gonna be for Halloween? I was like, whatever my wife gives me that day. You know, I think last year I was a rooster. And before that, I was thinking I was Raggedy Ann. You know, using these beautiful flow red hair.
Okay, so with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion made.
Second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.